What's up guys, welcome back to the video, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about some really scientific facts, some really deep science, kinesiology and some biomechanics about our body fat. Now what is body fat, how our body burns fat, how our body enters the fat zone, how the body can burn fat effectively through workouts, through diet, and we're going to be covering all these step by step. So stay tuned to the video, watch the video till the end. Do forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and stay tuned till the end. All right, so we're going to be talking about what is body fat, what is its role, and how does it protect the body against several, I would say, what is its actual role. Okay, so body fat helps regulate, firstly, it helps regulate the body's temperature. And a certain amount of body fat is very essential for an individual. Around, let's say, 10 to 12% of body fat, it's very important. A body fat can be measured by calipers, or maybe you can go through several websites known as body mass indexes. There are several websites available on Google, so you can definitely go check them out, right? So body fat helps regulate the temperature, firstly, number one. Number two, it is also provided is certain amount of strength. Okay, so in strength training and protection of several diseases, then it helps also regulate the body temperature, right? So a certain amount of body fat is essential. But if that body fat exceeds, let's say 16%, let's say 17% and 18%, so it could be detrimental, it could be hazardous to the human's health, right? It could be hazardous to the individual's health. So in women specifically, around 16 to maybe 15% of body fat is sufficient enough. Whereas in men, they should probably stay around 13 or maybe 14% of body fat. 12 is very relatively good. It determines that the person is very much athletic, is perfect, and he concentrates primarily on his nutrition, on his workout regimen, and diet protocols and stuff like that. So if the body fat percentage exceeds, let's say, about 16%, about 17 or 19%, then it could be fatal for the person's health, and he may be more prone to diseases like a heart attack, like diabetes, like cancer, and he may get more he may get more exasperated. There may be more mood swings, and he may feel a lot of fatigue, tiredness. Sitting position might be very uncomfortable for long times, and these are the primarily the symptoms of being an overweight. So overweight is very uncomfortable, especially when you experience body shaming from public, and it could be really exasperating. It could be the person could really get infuriating, and it's really frustrating to be in that situation. Firstly, I myself have been in the situation, and I totally understand being in that situation and getting rid out of it. It takes a lot and lot of efforts, guys, not just from a nutrition, not just from the workout perspective, but even from the nutrition perspective. You have to clean out your diet, you have to just extricate everything from your diet. You have to be more disciplined, more rigid when it comes to your workout routine, when it comes to your diet, to get rid of that stubborn belly fat, or you say love handles, which is located on the side of the west, and a lot of other things, uh, especially overweight and obese people tend to undergo in their life. So anything above or anything that exceeds the limit is always potentially hazardous. So body fat, as we can see, if we try to pinch our skin, now my skin is not that thick enough. That means my fat could be relatively around standing or 15 to 16%, which is okay. But if I try to drop that my drop the fat down, it could be potential. It could be very good for my potential health, and I might look more vascular. I might look more athletic. I might look more huge, right? When it comes to tracking my progress and fitness. So anything, as we have said, I would like to reiterate, anything above a potential level is potentially hazardous, right? So how does a body store fat? How the body stores fat? Where is it stored? And how does the body fat gets burned, apparently? So body fat is stored by consuming calories. So whatever we consume calories is ultimately assimilated. It is first of all absorbed, and then later on it is excreted by the small intestine, and small intestine absorbs all the nutrients, and then later on it is excreted whatever the unnecessary waste by the rectum. So if we try to overconsume calories than what is required by our body, right? If we try to consume more calories than what is required by our body, the body will say, okay, I don't require this food now. So where should I store this? Okay, let me store it as an excess energy. So that excess energy will get transmitted to as triglycerides, what we call it as fatty cells, right? So you might have come across in your reports if you have gone through all the body checkups or maybe metabolism test, and you see primarily my triglycerides are up. So in order to reduce your triglycerides, you have to be in a calorie deficit, right? So major of the doctors recommend you that you have to cut down this, if you cut down that, if you cut down this. So and lot of a lot of changes are required in your lifestyle. You have to change your lifestyle consistently. Your sedentary lifestyle is pretty much lethargic. You are pretty much lazy, and you have to change your lifestyle, your nutrition, your you have to do you have to burn more calories, right? So you see triglycerides are pretty much high, and that is because of fatty cells accumulated more. Because you're consuming more calories, the body doesn't know what to do. So the body is keeping that excess fatty cells or excess calories as fat cells. So it gets stored as triglycerides. So this process happens and over and over again. This happens repetitively over and over years again. Consistently it happens year after year. You see you are gaining a lot of fat, especially on your belly, especially in your love handles, your cheeks, your arms are getting more, I would say, thick, not thin. Arms are getting more thin, and you start seeing a lot of noticeable changes in your appearances. That's big. That's and you see that you are having fatigue very quite frequently while even when walking, maybe just walking few steps, you're having quite fatigue very easily, tiredness, and these are the results of being an overweight. So it's quite frustrating. So after after the body fat accumulates, the we have to burn it. We have to burn it, right? So this was the process how the body fat gets stored, right? It gets excess body fat even affects the liver. Excess body fat even affects the heart. So if excess body fat try gets stored inside the body, the system cannot function efficiently, and as a result we are more the person or individual is more prone to diseases, right? So the next stage is how do we burn fat, how the body enters the fat zone, and what what strategies and tips to be followed in workouts or in my lifestyle and my nutrition, right? So as we understand, when we consume excess calories, the body doesn't know where to store, and it's stored as excess calories, and that is stored as triglycerides and fat. Now this person is getting fat. His weight is increasing on the weighing scale, and he doesn't have any sufficient amount of muscle mass on his body. His chest is weak. His chest is absolutely not defined. Arms are pretty much skinny. It's pretty much slimy. Um, Legs are pretty much weak. Okay, they're fine. They're holding some amount of muscle mass. So, how can we efficiently burn fat? Number one comes nutrition. Nutrition is 70%, guys, and workout is 30%. So, in order to burn fat, let's say you are consuming 30% or maybe 30, 30, 60, 30, 30, 60, right? That means carbohydrate 30%, protein 30%, and fat 30%. So that fat could be healthy fat or maybe low fats, right? in order to burn fat, you gotta be decreasing your carbohydrate intake, or maybe you can solely shift your preference to uh, brown carbohydrates, or maybe say complex carbohydrates, avoiding simple carbohydrates. Protein intake should be upscaled, increasing your protein intake. Healthy fats, you can keep it as stable as that. So in order to burn fat, you got to be decreasing your simple carbohydrates. By simple carbohydrates, I mean pasta, sugar, cakes, donuts, biscuits. Then we say fast food. Then we say dough, white bread, white white pasta, white macaroni. What do you say? All the sweets. We say anything which contains a lot of calories. So what happens? This when we try to consume these calories, the insulin level is spiked up by the pancreas. So the insulin level gets spiked up, and this hampers the metabolism ultimately. And due to loads and loads of energy is exploded into a system, the body doesn't know what to do with that energy. So that gets stored as fat. It doesn't get assimilated, doesn't get absorbed by the body at all. Whereas if we try to switch it to complex carbohydrates, let's say oatmeals, let's say the Indian chapatis, let's say brown rice, or maybe say veggies, right? So if we try to consume these foods, the insulin level is spiked. There is a spike in insulin level, but it is more efficiently absorbed by the body. The assimilation absorption of the body of these foods is in a synthesized manner as compared to having simple carbs or sugary foods, which we call it as starchy carbohydrates. So starchy carbohydrates, it is always advisable to stay away from them, and I would highly recommend to shift your diet to complex carbohydrates. Now that doesn't mean that you should keep having complex carbohydrates. Obviously, if you try to exceed, if you're not staying in a caloric deficit, if you're not counting your calories, not counting your macros, not staying in a calorie deficit, ultimately that isn't going to do any benefit to you, right? So you have to be in a calorie deficit. Make sure you track your calories. Make sure you track your macros. You can drop your calories by every 100 every week. You can drop 100 calories, so 100, 100, 100, 100. And what this happens is you're dropping your carbohydrate intake, so whatever energy, the excess energy is stored in the triglycerides, that that energy the body will be utilized for for efficient processing of the system, right? So whatever excess energy, the body doesn't have excess energy to produce whatever it's got, so it will be retrieving that energy, and that's how the body will be functioning ultimately. That's how the synthesis and stimulating of the energy is produced, and thereby your body enters into a fat zone, and week by week, month by month, you start seeing a dramatic changes in your appearances. You see the body is on a fat mode, it's on a fat zone, and the glucose level, earlier it was spilling over. So glucose level was spilling over. Now that you have decreased your carbohydrate intake, the glucose level is low. Now the glucose level, how do we decrease the level? Yeah. So now comes the workout. The workouts, that's how we decrease our glucose level efficiently to maximize our efficiency of the progress, right? So the workout should be, you can opt for several splits, like push pull leg split. Like you can go for upper body split, lower body split. You can go for two body part split, or maybe three body part split, but I personally prefer to go for a three body part split, wherein you train three body parts in a single day. Let's say shoulders, chest, or forearms, or maybe back and legs, which are two big muscle groups. So make sure you train for an hour at least. Make sure your workouts are really intense. Cut down the short rest periods. Make sure the intensity of a workout is very, very, very high, and it's very intense. Okay. Stage three. Coming to cardio. Cardio, I would highly recommend you guys to do NEAT. What does NEAT stand for? NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Now, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, it basically means walking 10,000 steps a day. Now 10,000 steps. Maybe you could just go, maybe just walking here and there, maybe taking the stairs instead of the elevators, uh, taking the stairs instead of the elevators, walking 10,000 steps like that. So, in order to burn more calories, apart besides your workout, you have to make sure you are not being lazy, you're not being lethargic, and you are at least doing 10,000 steps a day. So that is called as non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is a very efficient way to burn, maximize your progress in a very stabilized manner. So that is cardio. Or maybe if you don't like to do NEAT, you can also opt for a HIT, like short burst exercises like burpees, like stock jumps, or maybe jumping I would say jumping jacks, then squats, jump squats, star jumps, skipping, rope, swimming. A lot of exercises available, guys. So you can opt for that as well. Right. So your diet is clean, your strength training is good, your need is very good. So if you combine all this, give it us ample amount of time, guys. Give it a sufficient amount of time. Let's say minimum time of like 6 weeks, and within 6 weeks, keep tracking your pictures, keep monitoring your progress, keep controlling it, keep counting your macros, your calories, your workouts, your need. Make sure you sleep appropriately well. Make sure you rejuvenate the next day very well so that you can work out effectively, you can concentrate, and your focus is very good for the workouts next day. And that's how you burn all those deep stored fat, which is called as stubborn belly fat, also called as subcutaneous fat in, in medical science or fitness science. So subcutaneous fat is a very hard fat. It usually tends to go last. So all we can do is, uh, if you're not able to see your progress, if you're not able to see noticeable amount of changes, what should we do? For that, you should focus more on your diet. Drop your calories furthermore by 100, by 200 calories more, and maybe you might start seeing results, right? So the stubborn belly fat is the last one to go, and it is the first one to come. So stay consistent, guys, stay persistent, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, peace out.